Hi there. I'm on my way, I'm making it. I've got to make it show.
So, like most of you, I heard of these incredible stories of people moving to New York City for their jobs or to pursue their dreams. And in all of those stories, you hear about how this city has changed their life. It became home. It allowed them to live the life they always wanted. So just like any young, impressionable 20-year-old would do, I hopped on the first chance I got to go to New York City. At first, I was blown away with the spectacle of it all. Walking past Rockefeller Center, Times Square, Little Island, Soho, I mean, the list goes on and on. These are the spots you see in the movies, the stuff that you fantasize about when you're little, especially growing up a comic book fan. I mean, this place just gives you so much of a Gotham City vibe, and you see all the Avengers and Marvel landmarks. The problem was, it wasn't the sights and sounds, it was what was happening to me as a person. I soon started to get more self-conscious about the way I looked and dressed. And to be honest, I know I'm not some Fabio riding on a horse, but I think I'm a pretty decent looking guy. But when you walk around the city, and anyone can attest to this that has lived in this city before, everyone you walk by is either a supermodel or very attractive. So that can really warp your mindset about your beauty standards and what you think is normal. And something about just seeing influencers walk by you all the time made the city not feel as authentic. It just seemed like all the other 20-year-olds were just trying to fake it till they make it. This led me to fall right into the consumerism trap. I would start buying clothes and the latest fashion choices, and I would always go to the used clothing stores to make myself look and feel cool. And it's funny, looking back at it, I was trying so hard to impress people that wouldn't care less about who I was if I wasn't in the city. I was losing track of who I was. I spent so much of my time being anxious leaving my apartment because I had to look presentable, and I was spending a lot of money on stuff that I didn't need in order to impress people and live a life that I didn't want to live. I was living without a purpose. I was just floating. It kind of reminded me of high school, where you try your best to fit in with people you know you don't really connect with, but you do it anyway so you don't feel alone. It wasn't until I moved back to Georgia that I started to discover who I was again. I was regaining that focus and purpose that I was missing in New York City. I was around friends that accepted me for just who I was, and I didn't feel this need to always flex or show off. I could just simply live my life. Now, I'm not saying New York City isn't a magical city. It definitely is, and there's a lot of creative juices floating in the air. But if you're not careful, you can lose yourself in the city chasing something that isn't you. It took me moving back home to realize that this city isn't for me, and that's okay. Maybe one day in the future, the city will call my name once again, but I don't regret living here. I know I will look back on these memories of spending my early 20s in this city fondly, and I know I can take these lessons that I've learned back home into my hometown. The lessons are: stop comparing yourself, live with a purpose, and be authentic. Stop comparing yourself to others. This is something we're told all the time when we're young, but my God, is it so true. I think one of the reasons I was so miserable and anxious all the time when I was here was because I kept comparing myself to other people. It could be as superficial as saying that guy over there is more fit than I am, or the person over there has a better job than me, but at its worst form, it came at the cost of me thinking that everyone else was having a better time than I was. Coming out of this, I've definitely realized that people are not living the crazy lives that you think they are. Think about it, the stuff that you see on Instagram or the Instagram stories is just the highlights of their day. That's why you only see them post about concerts they're going to or a crazy night out. It's them wanting to flex their life onto you. But you will never see them posting about a lazy Sunday they had just watching Netflix and sitting in bed all day. That's because when it comes to the social status of life, it doesn't seem that appealing. Oddly enough, being back and removed from the NYC environment helped me a lot. Because I live in a small town, I was forced to just enjoy my own company and focus on YouTube, working on myself, or just playing video games with friends. I was creating my own fun. Internalizing the mindset that you are worthy enough to create your own fun can do wonders for you when you're in this city. It's so easy for your mind to play the victim game here and convince yourself that you're not cool enough to have these fun experiences. But if you trust yourself enough to know that you are worthy of these experiences, it will do wonders for you. Living with a purpose. This, I would say, is arguably the greatest point or the greatest thing that you need to have, regardless of any point that you are in your life, but especially when you move to a new city, when you have very little friends. You need to know exactly why you're doing the things that you're doing. Having a purpose will allow you to make choices that only align with the mission that you want to achieve. Compared to when you're living without a purpose, it's very easy to fall into the consumerism trap, have your arms tangled up in multiple locations, and not be focused on the mission that you want to achieve. Now, your purpose can be anything. It could be starting a YouTube channel, starting a side hustle, or finally starting that business, or whatever you can think of. But one thing I can guarantee you that you can take to make your mission and your purpose even greater than what it is to start thinking away from just about yourself and start thinking about how you can serve others. And when you do that, you'll be surprised by just how much more powerful your mission can become and how much more powerful your purpose can be. you'll start carrying yourself in a different way. The words you speak will start being more authentic, and you will just have this gravitas or this energy around you that no one can really pinpoint, but you'll know exactly why you're doing the things that you're doing. Be authentic to yourself. I mean, this ties directly into the last point, but be authentic, man. I don't think everyone in New York City is fake. I've actually met some really cool and honest people throughout my time here, and one of the ways I was able to do that was by going to photography and creative meetups. And this is the biggest tip that I can provide you here, is you need to start going to places that authentically align with your own interests. I thought I was going to be meeting these really cool people by going to pre-games or parties or clubs, and while those are fun to do in different moments, I just don't personally align with doing that every single weekend, and I wasn't meeting the type of people that I wanted to. It wasn't until I started going to those club events and those club meetups that I started to meet the proper people that I needed in my life. I wish I started doing this much earlier during my time in the city. If I had, I probably would have been able to build my own community here. So to any young 20-year-old moving into the city, stay true to your mission and drown out all the BS and all the noise that comes with living here. If you do that, I know you'll be able to live here and be able to make the friends that you want and be able to successfully thrive in the city. With love and respect, Yash.